Good day. One of the fun things I do, really enjoy fixing tools. It's always a challenge to kind of figure out what's going on, and then when you fix them, you realize that you saved a tool. This one here apparently doesn't work at all. We'll plug him in. Doesn't sound too good. We'll check them out. One of the biggest things that happens with these is there's a bearing in here, and it gets a little tight. We're going to change the pad out if we can get this working right. See here, there's a little belt, just kind of tensions it up so it doesn't just keep spinning around and around. So I'll just pop him out. It's not too bad. We're going to check them out anyway. Spins really good. Figure out where that little bit of a noise was coming from. Now up here, this is, if we take this off, we should be able to see the brushes pop off. Anyway, take a look. I need a screwdriver. I guess the whole top comes off here. It's not that little part. So we're just going to check the brushes. Just pull the spring out of the way. Pop that out. The brushes are okay. They're not. They don't have that much life left in them. But this Porter cable stuff, it's tough to get parts for them anymore. Now they said they were having trouble turning it on and off, so I'm going to show you. Get a little closer here, show you what I do. So if your sander does not turn on, you do a little troubleshooting. So we have our multimeter here, And we got it set on the ohms, which is the omega sign right there. So when you touch when there's no resistance, that means you've got contact. Everything's good. So if we go to the switch, we just put it between the two contacts, and you can see it goes to 0. So there's no resistance there at all. If we turn the switch off, you can see that it doesn't show at all. Nothing shows up. So that means it's an open circuit and the switch is working good. It's hard to hold it with one hand here. I said it wasn't working every once in a while, so we'll hit the switch a few times here. Well, it seems to be working fine. Alright, next thing to troubleshoot. If your sander's not starting up, the cord. So basically, same thing, we're going to do an ohms test on this. And you bring this, so kind of on the fat part of your cord here, that'll be your neutral wire, so that'll be the white one. That's good to go. Usually right in this area here is where they start to wear out. Try the black one. Everything's good. So if it's still not turning off or turning on for you, your brushes may be wore out. So you have to check that out. Could be burnt contact here or something. But everything seems to be working fine on this guy. We'll blow that out, put it back together, and then we'll see what we got. Always take the opportunity to put a little penetrating oil. I'm going to get it working first. Penetrating oil on that bearing right here. Just kind of goes into the bearing and gets the grease moving again. That's good. You can see on this Porter cable it's a little bit loose right in here, so we're just going to run a little bit of tape like they had before. I don't know if that's there was a different gasket in there or something. Looks like there could have been a gasket in here at one time. It is no longer there for some reason. Take the sticker off here, it's blocking my hole. Now normally, there's a little plate right here. I'm gonna see if I've got one. And it kind of goes into this little groove right here. I'm gonna go see if I can find one. See if that is actually missing on here. Alright, I wasn't able to find one of those. That's okay, it'll still work without. Just gonna take your time lining her up. Like I said, it's tough to get parts for these little Porter cable guys now. Getting pretty old. Porter cable's still making stuff. They're always top drawer. Really good tool. I don't know where they're at now. Who owns them? I'm sure that, like I am, it's hard to find a quality tool anymore, but they're out there. Okay, let's plug her in, see if she works. Yeah, it works okay. Now it's not a perfect, it's, you know, it's getting a little old. Nothing grabbing, nothing touching. It'll work for a long time yet, until they wear it out. So I think, just looking at this, I think that it would work a little bit better if we had that other piece in there. But it will work. And I'm just going to have to go on search and see if I can find that chunk. But, well, we thought there was a lot wrong with it, but there wasn't much wrong at all. Done. Okay, the next tool we're going to repair here, and it's a pretty simple little fix. Cord start to fray here. This is a pretty old, it's a DeWalt drill, and you know, the cord's in okay shape. It's not great, but for the amount of times that you never use a corded drill anymore, but we are going to fix this. So I'm going to show you what to do. Don't be afraid, you know, a lot of people, they'll get a little frayed end on a cord and they'll chuck the tool out. Oh, don't be going doing that. We can fix that. Alright, let's take her apart. Find a screwdriver first. As you can see on the DeWalt, so we got our white neutral on the right hand side and our main wire here, our power wire. So we just have to push down on that little tab there and they just pop right out really nice and easy on these DeWalts. Okay, I gotta find something that's a little bit better to get in there. Let's push that tab out. There we go. So on these DeWalts, like I'm not a big fan of DeWalt. They're a good tool, but the only reason I don't like them is their parts are usually pretty expensive. And if you see something, just do it. Put a little bit of grease on that while we're here. Make it run a little nicer. So we're going to fix this cord end. That's just a simple matter of cutting this, soldering the ends, putting her back in. Now normally, you know, this cord's been doing this. So sometimes these wires can get a little weak inside there, so you want to cut it back about an inch or half an inch past here. Now, there's my knife. Basically, let's put the strain relief on there. So basically, just measure the length of wire that we're going to need from the original, and carefully cut this protective coating off the outer layer. I just bend it and just barely cut it, and it just pops right off. Just like that. Now the black wire was a little bit shorter than the white, so we'll keep her to original. Right about there. Strip this. Just going to take a little bit more off of this guy. It's got a little tab on there. Okay, you can see the wires are fairly dark. So even though we're going to use a rosin core solder that has the flux in it, I'm going to dip these in a little bit of flux just to help clean that, so that we know that we can actually get a bit of a solder on there. Put her in the vise. Now this is just an acid paste flux. Poke her in there. This does help a little bit, especially if you're not using a rosin core solder, then for sure you have to do that. Solder I'm using is a 40% tin, 60% lead. And we're just going to use a soldering gun. Now the key here is don't be sitting there putting a whole bunch of solder on there, because what'll end up happening is you'll get a blob on the end and it won't fit into your switch. What you can do to help heat sink that heat on there, just put a little solder on your soldering gun. And when you see the your wire turn silver, you're done. Now I never did test this cord, so we are going to test it. Do an ohms test on it. Neutral wire works good. Same with the hot one. Perfect. Give that a wiggle and see what happens here. Still good. Now it's just a matter of just poking it back into the hole. Feeding the wire around the little loopy doop. Strain relief in. Back together. Plug her in, make sure she works. That'd be embarrassing if it didn't. Okay, today's fixes were pretty minor, but don't be afraid to tackle these little jobs yourself. You know, if you're a DIY guy, you can do this. A lot of people, you know, they're intimidated about getting into something that's got a lot of little parts, but they're really quite simple. So don't be afraid to tackle it. Save yourself some money. Remember, when you're wrapping up a cord, do it in a little figure 8 like this. And then at the end, just push it in like that. That way it won't go like this on you. Alright, that's tool repair for Tuesday. And I'll find some more. That was kind of fun. Until next time.